Samhita here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about what we want our Indian parents to know. If you are an Indian parent, welcome. You can watch this video as well. Let's get into it. Please ignore the broken nails. A little introduction. If you are an Indian parent watching this, the way you were raised by your parents kind of outdated, obviously. We have entered the era and realm of conscious parenting. So what I mean by that I will get into in a bit. But if you are kids of an Indian parent watching this, or a kid of an Indian parent watching this, or just a grown adult who struggled a lot to communicate with a parent, this video might help you if they are receptive enough to watch it. Especially if you're not the best person to communicate to them because they don't listen to you as much as they would listen to a stranger or someone else on the internet. So this video is for them. Today, priorities are different. Information is more widely accessible. Likewise, so are different groups of people, different ethnicities, different accesses to different substances, materials, etc. etc. So, in this day and age, how can you keep your kids, if you're watching this as a parent, safe? And how can you keep them sane, if not anything else? Because we do live in a world that challenges our ability to remain sane. So, this video is to shed some light on common issues faced in brown households. And the reason behind why I'm doing this is so that it could help somebody, it could help a parent, it could help a son, daughter, it could help you as someone with brown parents to feel more heard and understood. So let's get into it. Number one, this is for the parents. The harder you hold on to your kids and try to control them, the more out of hand they're going to go. This is quite literally the foundation of Buddhism and a lot of religions, to be honest. The harder you hold on to something, the more it's going to slip from your fingers. And this applies with your children as well. And by that I mean, if you don't give them the freedom, the trust to go explore the world, to fall on their faces, to make mistakes, to yes come across maybe bad company or come across a couple of things, but don't give them the trust that they're going to find their way back home. Yes, it is scary. Yes, it is not always guaranteed that they will find their way back home, but holding them hostage, placing restrictions on them, treating them like they should be caged and being hardcore disciplinarians is not always the sure shot way of them being safe. It's not always going to prove it effective in building a relationship with them that's going to result in their safety. You want them to call you when they're not okay, or when they made a mistake, or when maybe they've gambled some amount of money, or maybe they're stuck in a party that doesn't feel safe and they want to get out of there and they need to call their parents, and their parents can really save them from that situation, but they're hesitant and they'd rather stay in that party and feel unsafe than call their parent because they know that their parent is going to be upset with them being in such a situation or place in the first place. You do not want these examples that I just gave you. You want your kid to come to you. You want your kid to confide in you. You want them to be open. And you cannot do that by not allowing them their space and privacy, and not allowing them, space to make mistakes. The more you try to discipline a kid in a harsh way, the more they're going to want to act out. And it is very evident. The more you try to cage someone, the more they're going to want to be let loose and be free. The most wild child kids in the world are usually kids who do not have friendly and safe relationships with their parents. And what does safe parenting look like? Safe parenting looks like being equipped with communication skills and tools to communicate what is safe and unsafe to your kid, and to tell them, him or her, what is safe and what is unsafe, and what is good, what is bad, why, give them the adequate reasons, allow them to have information to safeguard themselves, to protect themselves. And what does being your child's friend look like? It looks like listening to them, which brings me to my second point. Ask yourself questions. Do you cut your child off when they're trying to say something that's important to them and might not be important to you? Do you listen to something that challenges a sturdy, strict opinion you already have? For example, against psychology or therapy. The concept of therapy itself is associated to people being crazy, when in reality, psychology as a school of science just validates different facets and avenues of the human mind, and has different tips, tricks, and tools to manage and understand these different parts of the human mind. And awareness is a powerful, powerful thing for any child to have about their own mental patterns. And frankly, every human being can use some awareness around their mental habits and patterns and their wiring and their functioning. Therapy, psychology does not equal medication, does not equal someone being cuckoo and needing to fix that cuckoo-ness. That's a major notion among brown parents, and there's so much shame around their kids needing therapy. Honestly, most parents also need therapy. By the way y'all were raised, I mean, we empathize, but like, it's just therapy just helps you shed light on what needs your own care and your own um, empathy and understanding. Most of the time, it's just about knowing where to shine a light, which room in the chambers of your mind and heart are dark, and which room you need to turn a light. Just flip that switch and give yourself understanding and awareness. Just like how in past life regressions we visit like lifetimes that were the most traumatic, and by visiting them and understanding that trauma gets released. Similarly, there's no problem in visiting dark rooms within our own headspace. It's not always about shutting it down, keeping that door closed, and rising above it. So listen to your kids, challenge their opinions, allow them to have different opinions from you, and don't try to box them into what you believe. If your kid has a different opinion from you, that's okay. First, have the patience to listen to them. Do you cut your kids off when they're talking? Do you not give them a voice with you? Because if that is the case, they will grow up to be adults who are not confident to speak up, or they will grow up to be adults who feel like in order to be heard they need to scream and they need to be over the top with how they're expressing themselves, otherwise they won't be heard because they will be shut down. One of these two things will happen. Your kid will either be hyper focused on expression of themselves because their expression is always dimmed by you, or your kid will learn to just not express themselves. So are you allowing your kids their expression, their individuality, their freedom to have an opinion that is separate from you? Are you allowing yourself to understand where this opinion comes from? Are you listening to your kids? Listening is a huge part of building any connection and friendship. How would you, as an individual, like to be treated and respected in the world around you? The kid would want the same from the world around them. So, the way you want to be respected and talked to and treated, they need to be respected, talked to, and treated too. Because if they need to respect you and talk to you kindly and not raise their voice against you, but you can do the opposite, tomorrow they can very possibly behave in the way you behave towards them, towards somebody else. They could think it's okay to yell at other people who are inferior to them or younger than them. What kind of example are you setting to your kids? Are you viewing them as equals? Because every person has Sun, Moon, Saturn, Mercury, Venus, Mars, all of these planets in their birth chart. Every human being has a different, unique birth chart. Every human being has their own thumbprint, fingerprint. Every human being has a mind, has a heart, has a unique personality, has a different, unique body. What makes you think that there is some hierarchy between kids and parents just because of how much you've lived life? The kids of today know more about things than grandparents do, because information is that much more accessible, that much more widespread, and the sheer influx of awareness around 100 different things, many different things. There is this sort of societal ego that exists about kids should listen to parents is not about experience, age, or anything of that sort. It's about control. And this need for control comes from an unhealthy ego. It comes from not knowing how to be a safe parent. So this really needs to be questioned. If just because you are older, you don't think it's necessary to treat your child as an equal, to apologize where it's due, to take accountability for losing it at them, or to allow them equal expression, then there's a lot of questioning to do around that. Which brings me to my third point. Children view themselves as you view them. Throughout their lives, who were the first people to see them, to make them feel like they matter in this world, or give them a sense of identity, give them a sense of who they are? Parents, right? If you view them as a source of your wishes being fulfilled, or your dignity or pride, and if love is conditional in the household, where you're like, if you achieve this and this, that time I will love you. I will only show my love and affection for you if you achieve A, B, C, and D. That's how they will treat themselves as adults. They will only love themselves if they've achieved something, they've done something. Or they feel like they're unworthy of love and affection unless they've done something remarkable in their lives, which can be such a hard thing to carry as an adult. If you make them feel shame for different things, they will carry shame as adults. If you put them down again and again, they will view themselves as unworthy. They will go into interview rooms, they will go into places where they can really do well, and because they have that much shame, they will not allow themselves to do well. Because how you see your kids will affect how they see themselves. So if you see them without love, without compassion, without care, without consideration, they will not consider themselves. They will struggle to love themselves, and they will think that love is conditional. This is not what you want your kids to grow up feeling or doing, because it'll sabotage them in their careers, it'll sabotage their relationships, it'll sabotage their happiness. And is that what you really want for your kids? Even if you don't care about what happens to them emotionally, you want to be proud of your kids, right? You want to feel like you did the right thing by them. You want them to achieve good things. You think they can achieve that with this much of lack and shame, or those heavy burdening feelings that they carry throughout their childhood. The whole punishment concept, I will be punished if I'm not X, Y, and Z, doesn't work with kids. Kids need to understand consequences. Yes, people need to know that there is a consequence to not doing something, there's a consequence to procrastinating, there's a consequence, but there's always a healthy way to reinforce that. For example, there's a difference between being controlling and being assertive and being someone who can draw boundaries and communicate effectively. And that is something that brown parents really don't know how to do. If a kid wakes up in the morning and is like, I want to have this candy bar, you can be like, you are not allowed to have that candy bar. You no. That will just make them upset first thing in the morning, make them feel like they did something wrong for just expressing a desire, expressing a wish to eat a candy bar. And they will feel rejected and they will feel restricted. Some parents even do this first thing in the morning. Are you really going to eat a candy bar? What is wrong with you? Like, your children don't need to hear that contempt for merely expressing something that's coming naturally to them. Instead, here's what you can do. Hey, I can see that you want the candy bar, but eating it first thing in the morning is not really healthy. How about you eat breakfast first, and then we can split the candy bar in two? There's always a healthier, more effective way to communicate with your kids, and they probably will comply when you communicate the second way. So, communication is very important when it comes to shaping how a kid feels about themselves, so that you are not molding someone who by default questions their desires, questions themselves, their worth, how much love they deserve, etc., etc. Another thing I want to add on to this particular conversation, that kids view themselves as you view them, is it is no secret that India is a patriarchal society, and in a patriarchal society, parents, especially mothers, view girl children or their daughters with so much disgust when they freely express themselves with their clothes or their sensuality, or choose to wear something that might reveal their shoulders or their legs. As much as safety is a concern, and you know what people are like out there, and the kid probably doesn't know, or the teenager, or the 21-year-old, or the 25-year-old, whoever it is, as much as they might not be as forward thinking with respect to their safety because they are used to their peers dressing this way, etc., etc., and as much as you want the best for them and don't want them to be looked at, don't want that evil eye on them, or don't want them to be unsafe, there will be only negative consequences achieved from looking at them with disgust. I've seen a lot of mothers do this, where they look at their daughters and what they're wearing with disgust in their face, looking them up to down, making a snickering face. That's just not going to contribute to your daughter's self-esteem and how she moves through the world. She's already feeling unsafe. She's already doubting her choices. And yeah, maybe your point is she should not be wearing that. But you know how much you are restricting your daughter's sense of pride and confidence in her own body, and do you know how much you are hampering her sense of feeling beautiful inside out? Do you know how much you contribute to her feeling like she should be ashamed of her body, and contributing to her body image issues, and feeling like people are looking at her just because you treated her that way in the morning? You don't know what you're in drilling. So, mothers, if you do this to your kids, we understand. We know that you want the best for us, you care about our safety. But you could communicate that much more lovingly. I would feel more reassured about your safety if you were to throw on a jacket at least until you reach your destination, or if you were to carry a scarf with you just in case you get late and you need to come home. Communicating softly in a respectful way towards someone's body and their choices will healthily shape their fashion choices, their day to day choices, and their ability to consider what's safe for them, as well as allow their expression of their bodies and themselves as well, in a manner that doesn't tarnish your relationship with them and doesn't tarnish their perception of themselves. You have no idea how damaging it is to a woman while growing up to be shamed for what they're wearing and to be looked at as merely objects that will attract negative attention. Stop the patriarchy. Like, the patriarchy that women uphold of the older generations is insane. Teach your daughters to cover up, not your men to be safe people. That's not how the future generations should be thinking about shaping our societies, in my opinion. And I'm sure a lot of people would agree with me. So, help your daughters feel safe in their bodies first and feel safe in your perception of them first. And then you can think about the world and how to tackle that in a healthy manner. Honestly, it all boils down to communication. Sarcasm could be replaced with genuine attention and genuine care and questions. For example, like, why did you make this choice? Why do you feel like this outfit would be appropriate? Instead of being sarcastic about it, like, huh, I guess someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning to make such a choice. Sarcasm is hurtful. Again, how you would like to be speak to your kids. Which brings me to my closing conclusion. Learn with your kids. Try to take in what they have to offer and what they have to say in their opinions. But if you have an opposing opinion, challenge them in healthy manners. Challenge them in a way where you allow them to build their case and speak, and then retaliate and respond appropriately while keeping their emotions intact, while keeping your emotions intact. It is important to cultivate healthy communication with our kids. It's important to cultivate healthy boundaries and allow privacy. People who are enmeshed with their kids and don't give them any privacy to be human beings, to have their sense of their individual lives and their feelings and their emotions and what they need in their day-to-day lives, etc., etc. If parents are infringing on basic human privacy, which is a basic human right, that is a sign of codependency and that's a sign of unhealthiness. So always have appropriate boundaries between one individual and another individual. Whether this individual is your kid, your parent, doesn't matter, because boundaries only bring people closer in healthier manners, and lack of boundaries create distance. So boundaries, communication, listening, which is a part of communication, and a healthy questioning of your narratives. Are they outdated? Questioning whether something's coming from ego, questioning yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Am I not? I know people say that, once you've reached an age, you're used to your ways, you're set in your ways, this is not how I was raised, etc., etc. That's not, everything is possible. Change is possible, changing your mentality is possible. People can shift an opinion even in their 50s, even in their 60s. They can shift the way they are functioning with respect to something and revamp the whole thing, no matter what age the person is. So that is irrelevant. The set in the ways thing is not relevant here. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope a lot of you kids, I'm sure you would relate to this. This was not meant to throw any shade to parents or parenting in general, but these are predominant issues in our society. There are a few more pointers, but I will stop the video here. Maybe we can pick this topic up in a different time, another time. And I hope this can shed light and bring awareness, and maybe it can help a parent and a kid feel more seen and heard. Or maybe it can help someone somewhere out there to gain awareness, or help a kid feel like they're not alone in what they experience with grandparents. Having said that, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the post notifications so we can stay connected, and I will see you next time. Bye.